When the weight of the world settles on your shoulders and you feel you don't even have the strength to utter a word of your suffering, there is a teaching that waits for you in the silence. Today we explore a profound, almost paradoxical idea for those moments when you are at rock bottom, facing despair, loneliness, or overwhelming negativity. It's a concept that sounds dismissive at first, but holds the key to a radical sense of peace, the freedom of, it doesn't matter. Please do not misunderstand these words. This is not to say that your pain is insignificant. Far from it. Instead, this is a sacred invitation, rooted in the wisdom of the great master KuKai and ancient Buddhist thought, to gently loosen your grip. It's about allowing the tight fist of attachment, anxiety, and despair to soften, just for a moment, and let a breath of fresh air into your soul. So today we will not talk about fighting. We will talk about yielding. We will explore how to find a sliver of light when the darkness feels absolute, drawing from the compassionate teachings of KuKai. This is not about intellectual arguments or easy platitudes. We all know that there are times when the heart cannot be reasoned with, no matter how much the mind understands. This is a journey into the heart, for the heart. Before we delve deeper, if this message resonates with you, please consider subscribing to our channel. Our goal is to share this ancient wisdom to bring a little more light into our modern lives, and your support helps us reach those who may need it most. Life, in its boundless complexity, will inevitably present us with periods of profound suffering. It is not a sign of failure. It is a part of the human tapestry. You might be facing a frightening diagnosis while struggling to make ends meet. You might be reeling from the sudden departure of someone you cannot imagine life without, the silence they left behind a deafening roar, or perhaps you've simply lost your way, the meaning of your own existence feeling like a distant, forgotten star. In this state of exhaustion, even well-intentioned words of encouragement can feel hollow. The tank is empty. There is simply no energy left to try. We fear our own mortality. We grieve for those we've lost, and when we are confronted with its proximity, we cry out, "Why is this happening?" This question, born of desperation and bewilderment, echoes through the ages. Buddhism offers a gentle, unwavering response in the concept of mujo, or impermanence. It teaches that everything in existence is in a constant state of flux. Nothing is permanent. This includes life itself. Death is not a cosmic mistake or a punishment. It is a natural, universal, and 100% certain aspect of the flow of life. And yet, Buddhist wisdom gently suggests that death may not be the final chapter. It proposes that the story of life is far grander than we can perceive. With concepts like reincarnation, the idea that consciousness continues its journey, changing form and shape like water moving from river to cloud. KuKai himself, while teaching the path to enlightenment in this lifetime, never dismissed the possibility that the soul's pilgrimage continues after the body is gone. What if we allowed ourselves to entertain this thought just for a moment? What if death is not a wall but a doorway? A transition point in an unending journey. This doesn't mean your grief isn't valid or that you should be okay with loss. The pain is real, and the questions of where have they gone will linger. But the idea that the end might not be the absolute end can subtly shift our perspective. It can whisper to us that we are not victims of a uniquely cruel fate, but participants in a universal cycle. Knowing that one day, we too will walk that same path can, paradoxically, give us permission to soften our grip on the pain of today. The raw anxiety of being in a situation where life feels fragile. Though our circumstances differ, the universality of death can be a strange comfort. It reminds us that we are not alone in our deepest fears. KuKai's teaching of Sokushin Jobutsu, the potential to attain enlightenment in this very body, offers an even more empowering perspective. It shifts the focus from fearing death to cherishing life. It suggests that the ultimate meaning is not found in what comes after, but in how deeply we live, love, and awaken right now. In this light, death becomes less of a terrifying endpoint and more of a natural horizon, with the journey of life continuing in ways we may not comprehend. But what if this reasoning brings no comfort? What if the pain is too loud? That is perfectly okay. The intention is not to force acceptance, but to plant a small seed of a different possibility. A thought to hold in the back of your mind. Perhaps there is more to the story. Whether you are facing your own mortality or grieving for another, the Buddhist view of death as a natural part of impermanence may or may not resonate. There is no right or wrong way to feel. But if Kūkai's perspective can offer even a moment's respite, allowing you to believe that it's okay to live alongside your sorrow and fear, then it has served a profound purpose. While the specter of death is a singular challenge, our hearts often break under the weight of many burdens arriving at once. It is rarely just one thing. It's the health scare on top of the job loss. It's the family crisis compounded by financial anxiety. Each problem is a heavy stone on its own, but when they all land at once, they can crush us. Our capacity as human beings is finite. There is a breaking point. Buddhism explains this through the concept of enji, or dependent origination. This is the understanding that all things are interconnected. Nothing exists in isolation. The suffering you feel today is the result of a complex web of causes and conditions. While this view reveals the profound depth of reality, it also confirms that there are no simple, one-click solutions. Understanding the interconnectedness of your problems can, ironically, make them feel even more overwhelming. This is where Kūkai's teaching of the Sanmitsu, or three mysteries, can be a lifeline. The three mysteries refer to the alignment of body, speech, and mind. But when you are already drowning, being told to perfect all three is just another impossible demand. Therefore, the wisdom lies in choosing just one, the smallest possible part you can manage right now. When everything is too much, the practice is not to solve the whole puzzle, but to find one single piece. You don't have the energy to clean the entire house? Just wipe down the kitchen table. You can't solve your financial crisis overnight? Just make the decision to call for an appointment with a financial advisor tomorrow. It's about choosing one tiny, manageable step. This is a form of training for the mind, gently guiding it back from a state of overwhelming chaos to a single point of focus. There are times when rational advice and words of encouragement simply cannot penetrate the fog of despair. You know what you should do, but your heart refuses to follow. Even words of kindness can feel like nails on a chalkboard, a reminder of a peace you cannot reach. In those moments, the most compassionate act is to simply acknowledge the truth. Right now, I do not have the capacity to take in advice. Kukai taught the importance of first looking at your own heart, just as it is. Not to judge it, not to fix it, but simply to see it. Instead of forcing yourself to be positive, you admit, I am overwhelmed. I cannot process everything right now. By giving yourself this permission, by accepting your current state without judgment, you may find that a little bit of the tension begins to release. When facing a multitude of sorrows, approaching them one by one with moderation is the most sustainable path. Trying to solve everything simultaneously will only accelerate the burnout. So, what is the one small thing you can do today? Once you've done it, allow yourself to acknowledge, that was enough. I did enough for today. This repetition of small, manageable efforts can, over time, lead to significant progress. And as you learn to speak to yourself with this kindness, it's okay. This is enough for now. You will feel your mind slowly begin to find its balance. This is not about being lazy or giving up. It's a survival strategy. It's about narrowing your focus to stay afloat when you are in danger of being pulled under by the currents of despair. And if you are in a place so dark that even a kind word feels like an intrusion, that too is a natural state. Acknowledge it without self-criticism. Kūkai's path begins with seeing yourself right where you are. In the depths of suffering, logic is useless. But the one thing you can offer yourself is an attitude of non-judgment. That alone can be a powerful anchor. For some, this idea brings immense comfort. It reframes suffering as a part of a purposeful plan, a mountain they chose to climb. But what is the Buddhist perspective? The concept of karma, or inga, does suggest that our present circumstances are shaped by past actions, even from previous lives. However, this is not a rigidly fixed script. Kūkai's teachings, in particular, emphasize the power of free will. They illuminate the profound truth that our actions, thoughts, and words in this very moment are continuously shaping our future. So, is there a scenario? Maybe. Maybe not. The more important point from the perspective of Shingon esoteric Buddhism is that you always hold the pen. You have the power to edit, to revise, and to change the direction of the story. Buddhism holds both truths in a dynamic balance. Our past creates our present conditions, but our present actions create our future possibilities. What you choose to do, think, and say right now sends ripples into the unwritten future. This is the exciting, empowering core of the Buddhist path. Kukai's teaching of Sokushin Jobutsu is the ultimate expression of this freedom. If our lives were completely predetermined, there would be no possibility of achieving enlightenment through our own efforts. The ending would already be written. But Kukai insisted that this moment, right now, is what matters most. Your intention and your actions can change everything. I certainly don't remember choosing this script. Even if there is a pre-life scenario, the suffering can feel too cruel, too unbearable. But Buddhism offers hope here. It says you don't have to simply accept it. Change is always possible. Your life is not a static screenplay. It is a dynamic, interactive performance. You are not a helpless pawn. You are a co-creator, with the agency to influence the narrative. This perspective harmonizes with both spiritual ideas of a life plan and the empowering view that destiny is not fixed. The key is to recognize that you possess a measure of power, a right to make new choices within the grand stage of your life. Of course, when you're at rock bottom, the idea of rewriting your story can feel like a fantasy. When you can barely get out of bed, how can you change your destiny? But this isn't about grand, sweeping gestures. It's about remembering that your situation is not absolutely, irrevocably sealed. Even the smallest choice, the decision to take one deep breath, to drink a glass of water, to step outside for a moment of sunlight, is an act of co-creation. It is a declaration that you still have agency. Kukai's teachings strongly imply that within every circumstance there is room to maneuver. When you feel like screaming that your fate is unfair, just hold this one thought in the corner of your mind. Maybe, just maybe, I can shift this, even by a millimeter. If there is even 1 millimeter of room to change, that millimeter holds the seed of a universe of hope. This is the flexible, resilient, and powerful view of life that Kukai offers us. So we arrive at the most crucial question. When you are in the abyss, when you are so exhausted and broken that you cannot move, what can you actually do? The word try is off the table. It is salt in the wound. The first and most powerful action is to stop pushing. Instead of forcing yourself to feel better, try gently speaking to your own heart. This is so hard. You are in so much pain. It's understandable that you feel at your limit. In other words, you give yourself permission. It's okay to not be okay. Imagine the spirit of Kukai placing a gentle hand on your shoulder, not to push you forward, but simply to be with you. This act of radical self-acceptance can release a surprising amount of pressure. Can you bring your palms together in a gesture of reverence for your own struggle? If you are so depleted that leaving your bed feels like climbing a mountain, then just lie there and breathe slowly for 10 seconds. That is enough. Another simple practice is to quietly chant a mantra, such as Kukai's mantra, Namu Daishi Henjo Kongo. This is not a magic spell. It is a tool for the mind. By focusing your awareness on the sound and vibration of the words, you give your racing thoughts a place to rest. You create a tiny island of calm in a sea of turmoil. These feelings are not wrong. They are messengers. They are proof of our humanity. Giving yourself permission to feel what you feel can be incredibly liberating. It's natural to feel this rage. It's normal to be consumed by this grief. You don't have to eliminate the feeling. You just have to acknowledge its presence. That is the starting point. When you are told you're being too sensitive, you can respond internally, "Perhaps I am thinking a lot, but that's because the situation I'm in is genuinely this difficult." This is how you begin to stand by your own side. This stance of, "it's okay as it is," combined with microscopic actions and a non-judgmental attitude toward your emotions, can be a lifeline at rock bottom. You don't need to take a giant leap. First, just notice the state of your own heart. Start with a breath, a word. That alone can begin to change the texture of the very next moment. The teachings of Dainichi Nyorai, the cosmic Buddha so central to Kukai's thought, paint a picture of a universe where every form of life is an expression of a single, brilliant light. We are all interconnected. The person who has passed on, and the death that you yourself will one day face are not endings, but perhaps transitions to another stage in this great, cosmic dance. Imagining this can, for some, bring a sense of peace. When you are at your lowest, being told, "This is a learning experience," can feel cruel. But the wisdom of Kukai suggests that insight and understanding will come in their own time. There is no need to rush. Everyone's timing is different. It's okay if you can't make sense of it now. The path of Sokushin Jobutsu itself presupposes a long and dedicated journey. You don't need to force an awakening. You don't have to instantly erase your pain. The very act of gently searching for your own way to feel lighter, at your own pace, has immeasurable value. You can remember the words of the master. You can take one deep breath to create a little more space inside. In that space, a new feeling might arise. Maybe I can keep going. Maybe, just as I am okay. The day will come when your pain transforms into wisdom. It will happen. Until then, please be gentle with yourself. May these teachings be a small comfort, helping you to set down, even for a moment, the heavy burden you carry. If this message has offered you even a small measure of peace, please consider sharing it with someone who might be navigating their own storm. You never know whose life you might touch. Thank you for sharing this space with us. Subscribe to the channel